When astronomers first caught sight of 3I/ATLAS, few imagined it would become the most terrifying object ever tracked in our skies. It appeared ordinary at first, another interstellar traveler, a fragment from the endless void between stars. But the data didn't add up, and the James Webb Space Telescope would soon uncover something so disturbing that even NASA went silent. The object had entered our solar system at a velocity and angle that defied prediction, threading between gravitational wells as if navigating by choice. It wasn't tumbling like a rock. It was steady, balanced, almost piloted. The initial optical scan showed a metallic glint, far too reflective for a frozen body adrift in space. Excitement rippled through observatories worldwide. The last time something like this happened was with Oumuamua. But this one, 3I/ATLAS, was larger, sharper, almost geometric. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory issued a brief, possible interstellar object exhibiting non-gravitational acceleration. When the James Webb Telescope locked onto it, the results were immediately strange. Instead of a cometary tail or gaseous plume, Webb's infrared sensors found complex heat signatures, organized in symmetrical bands, like panels or arrays. Its spectrum revealed isotopes unknown to Earth. Then something impossible occurred. Within just 48 hours, Webb's AI Anomaly tracker detected subtle shifts in its trajectory. It wasn't drifting, it was changing course. NASA dismissed it as outgassing, volatile materials venting from the surface. But deep in Webb's data, patterns emerged inconsistent with natural processes. The acceleration bursts were too regular, too precise. Inside a quiet NASA control room, a young analyst named Dr. Amina Thorne flagged a red-coded anomaly. Vector lock deviation toward heliocentric path, Earth-aligned. Her supervisor froze. They ran simulations again and again. Each time, the trajectory converged with Earth's orbital plane. Webb had caught something performing a deliberate maneuver. Word spread fast through the scientific underground. ESA cross-checked with its Gaia data. China's National Space Administration reported identical readings. Russia's Orbital Defense Network also noticed. By the fifth day, all agencies knew 3I/ATLAS was no longer a drifting rock. It was inbound. To the public, NASA's statements remained calm. Minor course adjustments due to sublimation, they said. But behind closed doors, satellite time was being reallocated. Webb was put on emergency tracking protocol. The object's heat emissions fluctuated in pulses, rhythmic, organized. A signal? Then came the first radio anomaly. SETI's deep array in California picked up a faint, repeating transmission overlapping Webb's data band. It wasn't random static, it was binary. The same pattern repeated every 17 minutes, precisely timed with the object's rotational period. Scientists tried to dismiss it as coincidence, but when the frequency shifted upward, compensating for Doppler effect relative to Earth, no one could explain why. It was as if 3I/ATLAS wanted to be heard. On the seventh day, the signal's pattern changed. It began transmitting prime numbers, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. SETI researchers froze. This was intelligent encoding, the universal signature of reasoning life. They forwarded it to NASA, who quietly classified all future data. At the same time, James Webb's infrared cameras captured something incredible. Along the object's side, geometric shapes illuminated in sequence. Perfect hexagons aligned like circuits. Heat maps showed coordinated activation, as though some internal mechanism was powering up. Then, for 6 full minutes, Webb went dark. Every subsystem recorded a magnetic surge, as if the telescope had passed through an invisible wave. When power returned, the data feed revealed the object had altered velocity again, now accelerating directly toward Earth. In the next 48 hours, the world changed. Independent astronomers confirmed the movement. Amateur telescope networks posted side-by-side images proving NASA's trajectory data was falsified. Panic erupted online. Hashtags like #IncomingAtlas and #WebAlert trended worldwide. Government agencies scrambled to regain control of the narrative. Officials insisted the object posed no collision risk. Yet inside a secure NASA conference, analysts whispered otherwise. Projections estimated potential Earth intercept in less than 4 months. China's Sky Eye Observatory detected something else. Electromagnetic bursts synchronized with the object's movement. The bursts had structure, modulation, deliberate timing. Russia's early warning satellites confirmed identical readings. For the first time, space agencies around the world collaborated secretly. Shared data revealed the impossible. 3I/ATLAS's acceleration matched theoretical plasma propulsion models. Someone, or something, was steering it. James Webb resumed full observation, capturing near-infrared detail never seen before. The object's surface shimmered with panels resembling crystalline metal. The composition baffled scientists. It contained isotopes heavier than anything naturally occurring, including trace elements theorized only in neutron star collisions. Suddenly, Webb's spectrometer detected emission lines, the same spectral signature as an artifact unearthed years earlier in Iraq's so-called Tomb of Gilgamesh. When researchers compared the data sets, they were identical, a perfect match. That finding never reached the public. The connection was buried beneath confidentiality layers labeled anomalous terrestrial correlation. Meanwhile, 3I/ATLAS continued its approach. Its luminosity increased, glowing faintly blue as though alive. Then, just beyond Mars's orbit, it began to slow down. NASA's data teams were stunned. Nothing could decelerate like that without expelling mass or energy. But Webb recorded no debris, no thrust plumes, only a surrounding distortion field bending starlight itself. Gravity wasn't acting normally near it. Military intelligence networks reclassified it as potential autonomous craft. Briefings were held with heads of state. Space defense systems quietly activated observation protocols. No public announcements were made. 3 days later, a leak appeared online. It was a 27-second audio clip from a classified NASA transmission log. A voice said shakily, "It's not a rock, it's responding." The clip went viral before being removed. By then, it was too late. The world was watching. In mid-tracking, Webb caught another shift, a deliberate rotational reorientation. The object's axis aligned with Earth's orbital plane. Immediately after, radio emissions intensified, beaming directly toward our planet. For 12 hours, every major satellite network reported interference. Then SETI received a new burst of binary code. This time, it translated, partially, to 3 chilling words: "We are returning." Panic spread, markets crashed, governments urged calm but couldn't explain the message. In the skies above Earth, auroras appeared far from the poles, shimmering with unnatural hues of gold and violet, electromagnetic resonance triggered by the incoming object. NASA initiated Project Horizon, a plan to launch unarmed intercept probes. But before they could deploy, Webb's sensors went offline again under massive interference. When restored, the telescope recorded an image that sent shockwaves through every observatory. 3I/ATLAS had separated into 6 symmetrical segments, orbiting a central glowing core. Each module emitted its own energy signature, forming a perfect hexagon in space. Together, they resembled a colossal flower opening in the void. Within the center, a blinding golden light pulsed rhythmically, matching the original binary intervals. Physicists analyzing the light noticed temporal distortions, data loops repeating fractions of a second out of sync. Time itself seemed to fluctuate near it. The object wasn't just physical, it was manipulating space-time. Hours later, Webb's computers began malfunctioning again. Data files duplicated themselves, reversed, and reassembled into readable strings. Numbers, symbols, cuneiform patterns. Linguists called in from NASA's Anomaly division recognized some symbols. They matched inscriptions found beneath the Iraqi sands, referring to the return of the Sky Kings. No one wanted to believe it. Theories linking the object to ancient myths, to the Anunnaki, to forgotten histories once dismissed as fantasy, suddenly gained traction. Even mainstream astrophysicists admitted the coincidences were staggering. As 3I/ATLAS neared Earth's orbit, a global emergency broadcast was prepared. The United Nations, flanked by NASA and ESA officials, addressed the world. With pale faces, they confirmed, "The object has entered Earth's gravitational influence. It appears to be performing controlled maneuvers." Crowds gathered in cities, watching the skies. For the first time, even skeptics fell silent. Then, it happened. The binary transmission ceased. Instead, a single pure tone flooded every frequency band, low, resonant, vibrating deep into the atmosphere. Power grids flickered across continents. Magnetic compasses spun aimlessly. For 47 minutes, the tone persisted, syncing with Earth's magnetic field. During that time, seismic sensors recorded micro-tremors around the planet, synchronized pulses, as if the entire Earth were being scanned. Scientists compared the data to sonar mapping. The object was probing us. And then, silence. Webb, Hubble, and every orbital sensor recorded nothing. The light from 3I/ATLAS vanished. For 6 long hours, it remained invisible, then reappeared suddenly between Earth and the Moon, stationary. No motion, no rotation, just silence. Webb's emergency imaging systems, working through static, captured a chilling sight. Massive circular apertures opening along each module, all facing Earth. Inside, faint symbols glowed, cuneiform lines forming ancient words. One translation, confirmed later by linguists, read, "Awakening complete." The last signal Webb ever transmitted before its instruments overloaded was a compressed image. It showed something within the central core, a vast, intricate mechanism resembling both machine and life form, surrounded by plasma filaments shaped like wings. Then, transmission cut out. The James Webb Telescope went permanently offline. In the following days, strange phenomena blanketed the planet. Auroras rippled over equatorial regions. Clocks desynchronized. GPS systems failed intermittently. The Schumann resonance, Earth's natural electromagnetic heartbeat, doubled in frequency for the first time in recorded history. Governments declared it a solar anomaly. But scientists knew better. Something was interacting with our planet on a scale beyond comprehension. Days passed with no further communication. 3I/ATLAS remained motionless, glowing faintly red against the stars. Space agencies maintained round-the-clock observation but released no images. Then, suddenly, the object dimmed completely, vanishing from all sensors. For weeks, speculation consumed the world. Some said it had departed, others claimed it cloaked itself. Conspiracy forums whispered that elite agencies had established secret contact. But one fact stood undeniable. Before vanishing, the object transmitted one final encrypted packet directly to Webb. NASA never released it. Only rumors survived that within that final file was a single image, reconstructed by Webb's dying sensors. Some say it showed a structure, colossal, circular, buried beneath the sands of Iraq, glowing faintly in response to the signal from space. And others say it showed something else entirely. A reflection, a shape watching back through the lens. Not from space, but from beneath our own world. And that's where the James Webb story ends. Or perhaps, where it truly begins. In the aftermath of the Webb blackout, every major agency went silent. The telescope's data servers were seized within hours by the US Space Command. Even the European Space Agency's mirrored archives went dark. Scientists who had access to the raw telemetry described something they'd never seen before, self-altering code within Webb's own storage drives, as if the telescope had tried to rewrite its final data. The encrypted file, known internally as Sequence X17, became the most classified document in modern astronomy. What little was leaked described it as a visual and spatial anomaly containing self-referential geometry. No one outside the agency knew what that meant, but to those who'd seen even fragments, it was enough to haunt their dreams. Whispers began among researchers that the image didn't just show something, it responded when viewed. The pattern shifted based on observation time, creating what some called an optical feedback loop. Military analysts labeled it cognitive reactive media. Whatever it was, Webb's sensors hadn't failed. They'd been transformed. Meanwhile, amateur astronomers around the world continued scanning the region where 3I/ATLAS had last been seen. Some claimed faint energy spikes persisted between Earth and the Moon. Others insisted they could see distortions in starlight, like ripples of heat in the cold vacuum. NASA publicly denied any trace remained, but privately, a small task force called ARGUS was formed to keep watch. Weeks passed. Life resumed its uneasy rhythm. Governments urged calm. News outlets buried the story beneath political noise. But strange things continued happening. Magnetometers around the planet showed rhythmic oscillations. Pulses that repeated every 47 minutes, the exact interval of the original tone. Scientists in Japan detected gravitational fluctuations in lunar orbit, subtle but measurable. A deep space probe on the far side of Mars malfunctioned, sending back images of glowing hexagonal patterns in space before shutting down. The patterns matched those on 3I/ATLAS. In Iraq, near the site of the so-called Tomb of Gilgamesh, seismic instruments registered subsonic vibrations. Local villagers reported low humming sounds at night and desert air that shimmered as if charged. Teams dispatched under archaeological restoration banners quietly moved in, supported by unmarked transport planes. Whatever they were retrieving, no one outside the circle ever saw it. 3 months later, On a cold night over Chile, the Atacama Array detected something impossible, a massive gravitational echo, perfectly matching the one Webb had recorded from 3I/ATLAS. But this time, the echo came not from space, but from beneath Earth's crust. The data showed a pulse emanating from deep within the planet's mantle, as though something was responding from below. Some scientists argued it was coincidence, a tectonic artifact. Others quietly admitted what they feared: the signal was intelligent. By now, the name 3I/ATLAS had vanished from official reports. In its place appeared a new term: the resonance. Classified documents referred to it as a dual-domain presence, half cosmic, half terrestrial. Some within the Argus team theorized the object hadn't arrived from elsewhere at all. It had been dormant within the solar system, waiting for a call. Webb had simply answered it. And yet, something had changed in the sky. Amateur observers noticed subtle shifts in starlight alignment. The parallax of constellations wavered, like a lens being adjusted. It was as if the entire solar system was being fine-tuned. Radio telescopes picked up faint background tones, perfectly harmonized with the original binary message. Then, one morning, every seismograph on Earth recorded a simultaneous micro-vibration, lasting exactly 3.17 seconds. In that moment, all global magnetic compasses deflected east by 1 degree. GPS satellites rebooted. The planet's rotation slowed by an infinitesimal fraction of a second. It was as though Earth itself had exhaled. Argus scientists correlated the event with a narrow energy spike detected near the moon's far side. Within 24 hours, NASA issued a statement about a temporary magnetospheric fluctuation. But leaked internal emails showed a different story. Something massive had briefly appeared in lunar orbit, perfectly matching the energy signature of 3I/ATLAS. Hubble managed one partial image before the object vanished again, a faint outline, circular, surrounded by hexagonal light. It wasn't drifting, it was stationary, like a structure in the void. Soon after, Earth's upper atmosphere began showing irregularities. Charged particle flows deviated from solar wind patterns. Weather satellites recorded auroras, forming even under direct sunlight. Pilots reported shimmering bands of light streaking across the sky, invisible to radar but visible to the naked eye. Meanwhile, encrypted transmissions from the Webb's final data began leaking to fringe science boards. One packet, decrypted partially, contained a strange array of numbers and cuneiform-like glyphs arranged in spirals. Linguists determined fragments translated to "the memory of the void awakens." At the same time, power grids across Europe experienced synchronized surges matching the rhythm of those glyph patterns when converted to sound frequencies. No one could explain how ancient language could cause modern systems to resonate, unless the message was universal physics encoded as symbols. Rumors emerged that the final Webb image, if decoded fully, revealed not an alien craft, but a map, not of stars, but of structures buried beneath Earth's major magnetic nodes. The points aligned with ancient megalithic sites: Giza, Stonehenge, Angkor, and the ziggurats of Mesopotamia. Each formed part of a global hexagonal grid. That was when Argus changed its directive. The team stopped looking outward and began searching inward. Deep Earth radar imaging was commissioned under geological pretexts. Beneath the deserts of Iraq, under 11 kilometers of rock, something metallic reflected radar in perfect geometry. When drilling probes descended, they failed inexplicably. Their circuits fused, but seismic imaging showed cavities, corridors, and at the center, a chamber shaped like the core of 3I/ATLAS. Data matched perfectly. The same alloy signatures Webb had recorded in space existed underground. One scientist described the realization best: "It didn't come toward us, it called to itself." Across the planet, faint, low-frequency sounds began again, only audible with special instruments. They followed a precise pattern, aligning with the cycles of the moon. Radio telescopes confirmed that each time the moon passed perigee, the signal intensified. It was as if something beneath Earth was synchronizing with something above it, two halves of the same entity aligning across space. Then, exactly 1 year after 3I/ATLAS had first been detected, the sky changed. For several minutes, every satellite orbiting Earth reported total signal loss. Ground observers saw a faint golden light spreading across the night sky, covering the entire hemisphere like a dawn made of starlight. When systems returned, the moon appeared slightly displaced, its orbital telemetry off by fractions too large to be error. The next day, gravitational readings stabilized, but something new appeared in Webb's last known observation field, a faint red haze forming a circular outline. Experts tried to dismiss it as lens scatter, but the formation persisted for days. Radio frequencies around 1420 megahertz, the hydrogen line, filled with structured noise, the same frequency the object had used. Then came the final transmission, not from space, but through Earth's magnetic field itself. It was detected simultaneously by instruments in Antarctica, Hawaii, and Norway. The pattern was identical to the first, only this time the translation was complete. "We are the memory of your beginning, and we have come home." For 47 hours, the signal continued before fading into silence. When it ended, the skies returned to normal. 3 IATLAS never reappeared, and the world was left with questions too vast for science to contain. Governments officially closed the case, labeling it non-terrestrial anomaly of unconfirmed nature. The Webb Telescope's systems were written off as irreparable. But in a sealed facility, somewhere deep in the Nevada desert, servers still hum quietly, decoding fragments of sequence X17, trying to render the final image. A rumor persists among the few who've glimpsed the reconstructed frame. They say it doesn't show a craft, or a planet, or even stars. It shows a vast, circular chamber filled with light, and in its center, a shape that looks almost human, reaching out toward the lens as though through a mirror. And as the data loops endlessly, every cycle renders the same final line of code, embedded deep within Webb's dying memory. Observation complete, awaiting return signal. For months, the world believed the story had ended. The James Webb Telescope was decommissioned, its orbit classified, and the files surrounding 3 IATLAS buried under layers of national secrecy. But strange patterns began reappearing in the sky, faint light spectrums invisible to most instruments, yet visible to the human eye at dawn and dusk. People started calling them the Crimson Rings. At first, they appeared only at high altitudes. Pilots reported concentric halos hovering silently above cloud decks, glowing red and gold. Air traffic controllers wrote them off as atmospheric refraction, yet cameras failed to capture them. Only human sight registered them, as if the phenomenon interacted with consciousness itself. Meanwhile, seismic instruments once again recorded low hums beneath the Earth. The frequencies were the same as before, only softer, almost soothing. Archaeologists at ancient sites began documenting electromagnetic spikes during these events. In the sands of southern Iraq, one research drone captured a pulse of light erupting from a fissure. A pulse shaped like the same hexagonal pattern seen on 3 IATLAS. At the same moment, observatories in Japan, Chile, and South Africa recorded matching flashes on the lunar surface, as though something beneath its dust was responding. Lunar probes sent to investigate found nothing, only new crater-like depressions forming geometrically, six-sided, perfectly symmetrical. Whispers circulated among scientists that the phenomenon wasn't over. It had only entered its next phase. Sequence X17 wasn't a transmission, but an activation code. And what it had awakened wasn't an object in the sky, but something buried deep within Earth itself. By the second year, magnetic north began to drift faster than recorded history. Birds migrated in chaotic patterns. Whales stranded along magnetic fault lines. Satellites began losing synchronization. Astronomers observed tiny fluctuations in the sun's output, pulsing faintly in the same rhythm that once defined the ATLAS signal. Governments could no longer deny it. Something was influencing the entire solar system. Yet still, no sign of the object returned. Not visually, not through radio, nothing. Some scientists proposed a chilling theory. 3 IATLAS hadn't vanished at all. It had merged, phasing into another dimension, leaving behind an imprint across space-time that continued to echo. The few remaining Argus researchers who hadn't been silenced noticed something terrifying in the decrypted remnants of Webb's last data. The cuneiform sequence translated further than anyone realized. The final two glyphs, initially thought to mean awaiting return, were reevaluated. Their true translation was closer to awaiting awakening. The distinction changed everything. If the message wasn't about return, it was about resurrection. Something ancient, sleeping beneath humanity's very feet, was stirring. Not alien, but perhaps the origin of what we once called gods. And then, on the first anniversary of the object's disappearance, a radio telescope in the Australian outback captured an anomaly, a pure, repeating signal. Faint, but unmistakable. It wasn't from space. It was coming from Earth's core. When amplified, it revealed the same binary sequence Webb first recorded, now reversed, as if being echoed back. For the first time, the planet itself was transmitting. Scientists listening to the playback described it as beautiful, a haunting harmonic wave that felt alive. But beneath the tone, buried in subharmonic frequencies, a human-like whisper could be heard, faint yet clear. We never left. And somewhere, deep beneath the Iraqi sands, sensors picked up movement.